Willow Swift. She's the second character you get. She's kind of frail, but she does a lot of damage. Very easy to farm for. You can see lots and lots of levels to farm and increase her star level. I kind of overlooked her a little in the beginning. Being that she was one of the earlier characters, I assumed that she wasn't going to have as much long-term viability, and I moved fairly quickly on to some of the others. And in some ways I regret that, because she actually stays strong and is maintained as one of the highly picked characters throughout, I think, most of the game. Even high-level characters that are players that have maxed out on their levels, I think it's fairly often that you'll see her in their party, and a lot of that comes down to her abilities and this fast trait. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through. Let's check out those traits. Right, this first one, increase health by 15% for all nature allies. That can be a big benefit. First of all, should be giving her a little bit more health, a little bit more survivability, but can be really helpful again if you're putting together a group that's all nature. Attacks first. This one's really huge. It's hard to overstate how helpful this is in PvP, and especially works well with her abilities that we'll talk about in a minute. And then agile. This helps keep her alive a little bit longer. She's got that 25% chance to dodge ranged attacks, and again couples well with her abilities that we're going to go over here in a second. So moderate, as you'd expect, moderate to low defense, moderate to low health. She is fully leveled up right now to level 38. And the resistances, and over to those abilities. So here we've got her basic attack. I don't have these fully leveled up yet, but medium to low attack, as you'd expect for a fast character, and then these abilities down here are what really make her stand out. So sniper shot, her very first one. It does moderate damage and purges one buff. I think the biggest thing though is that it ignores armor. So you can do some massive damage to, especially to tanks. Many times she's used as the answer to Yokozuna. He has that that ability that will daze your entire party and buff the defense of the other party, of the defending team. And that can be a killer. It makes it hard to land hits, and it makes it hard to do any damage after that buff has been put on their defense. So she's often used to try to take him out early. Next one, Evasive Shot. The same kind of idea, but way more damage. And here, this also ignores armor. So I mentioned the kind of synergies. First of all is that she goes first. So before any normal character, so she's got a chance to hit with very high damage on normal speed characters even when you're attacking in PvP. That's a huge advantage, and then also ignoring armor. This one as well, the skill has an added chance to dodge the next attacks. Multiple attacks here. It's like a buff that stays with her for a little bit. I think it might be a 2-turn buff. But on that order, and it makes, coupled with her passive range buff, that 25% that we just talked about, collectively that makes her very hard to hit, especially with a ranged attack. So that can really increase her survivability, and it makes it risky to try to attack her, because if you miss, you've left her alive, and whoever else you could have taken out is now still alive as well. So she can really be helpful for a team that way. Let's look at her next ascension. This arrow barrage. So there's going to be a cooldown for this one. You probably aren't going to be able to use it right away, but you are going to be able to damage all the enemies on the other team. And again, that's a huge benefit. So when I get that, it'll be nice to check back in and see what the cooldown is on that. Be it the starting cooldown and then the continual cooldown on it as well. Those first two skills, if you look back, make sure to highlight these again. 5-turn cooldown on the first one, 4-turn on the second one. Those are fairly fast cooldowns, as you might expect for single attack. So again, as a summary, she works very well actually on offense and defense for PvP raiding. Not as often on campaign, just because she is relatively squishy, but the raiding You know, rating is decided in the first or second turn usually. So that squishiness doesn't make as much of a difference when she's only needing to survive for 1 or 2 rounds. So overall, very good character. Make sure to start building up her star level early. She's going to continue to be useful.